Let's talk about the stages of weight loss. This is a theory that I've been thinking about for a little while now, and I feel it can offer some insight, to your situation and where you're at in these stages of weight loss. Now, what this means is it's more of an awareness thing. It's more of why you get into weight loss, what works for you or doesn't work for you at that point in your life, and sort of the building of stages or building of awareness, building of consciousness, whatever you want to call it, as you develop through the stages, and where you sort of end up and where you want to end up by going through these stages. Now, keep in mind, this is a generalized sort of thing, and for some of you right now, you're like, what the fuck is he talking about? And you're going to switch away, and that's all good. Hear me out. I think it's interesting when you get into it. So, stage one is where a lot of people are at. Is the stage where people feel they have no control over their weight. These are people who say, I'm naturally big boned and I can't do anything about it. These are people who say, I'm a fat person and I'm going to be fat for my whole life, and that's just the way it is. I may be happy with it, I may not be happy with it, I may have accepted it. That's just life for me, and I'm always fat. Now, people in this stage, probably you may have been there at one point. I don't think I was ever at the stage one point, but there are plenty of people who are. And if you are in that stage, you're probably not watching this video because you're probably, convinced that you can't make the change. You can't change yourself. So maybe for those who are in the later stages, maybe send this to one of those friends, because you can. Everybody can make the change and lose weight. Stage number two. Now, these are people who believe that they have some control over their weight. They still identify with being a fat person. I am a fat person, but I have an event coming up and I'm going to lose weight for it. I have this wedding coming up, I'm going to lose weight for it. And I know I'll probably go back to being fat because I'm a fat person and that's who I identify with being. But for a temporary short amount of time, I can lose weight if I go to extreme measures. I've definitely been this person before. Now, I remember back before I was just out of high school, probably around 2005, 2006, I went on the Velocity diet, it's called, which is a liquid diet. You live off protein shakes for 4 weeks. You can have one solid meal a week. And I did it. And I lost 10 kilos in 4 weeks. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm in control. I am in control of my weight loss. I know I can lose weight. And this is a stage that I think it's good to go through it, because it was the first time, I think, in my adult life where I thought to myself, wait, I have some control here. I can make changes if I stick to it and use brute willpower and mental strength. I can lose this weight. Now, I'm still stuck in a bit of an ideology here where you have to go to extremes, you have to exercise a lot, and you have to really restrict your nutrition. I mean, I lost this. I had one solid meal a week. I was living off protein shakes and multivitamins and fish oil so that I could get enough nutrition. And boy, I felt awesome at the end of it. I was 10 kilos lighter. 10 kilos in 4 weeks. That's ridiculous. But as time went on, so I lost that in a month, and I think about 6 or 5 months later down the track, I had put the weight back on. And then, I went straight back to old habits because, I'm the fat person and I just wanted to lose weight temporarily, hoping that it would stay off long term, which it never does in that situation. So I think about a year later, that's where I was about close to my heaviest. So I was over 100 kilos. 100 kilos. I'm normally, right now I'm about 85. So I was about 106 kilos at my heaviest. Now, stage 3, this is the next stage where you, stage 3 is where you start to think, look, I've been doing these quick fix methods. And I'm sick and tired of, losing weight, gaining it back, losing weight, gaining it back, or just like having to go to extremes. Like, there's got to be a better way to do this. And this is where people tend to get fixated on a healthier, like, it's definitely a healthier way to do things. They'll get fixated on an ideology. Like, for me, it was paleo. I got really fixated on paleo, or the Primal Blueprint by Mark Sisson, which, is generally healthy. I still use a lot of things from that. Or CrossFit might be another way, or they go in a certain, weight loss program like Jenny Craig or something like that, where they do get some good results over a bit of a longer period and using less extreme methods. Still extreme. Like, we're using pretty severe calorie restriction. Oftentimes there's intense amounts and high volume amounts of exercise. And oftentimes the nutrition ideology comes from a place of restriction, comes from a place of, you can't eat this, you can only eat this. And this is paleo for me. You can't eat, paleo, it's not strictly no carbs, but no grains, no dairy, or only certain types of dairy, only very weird sort of types of grains and carbs. You're allowed sweet potato in some, small amounts. You have to eat a lot of meat and a lot of animal. You have to eat high fat, high protein. The methods, although they're better than a super quick fix method, like a meal replacement diet, they're still based around an unhealthy relationship with food, really. You're restricting food groups or your types of food. There's a lot of, this mentality about you have to exercise a lot to see results, or you have to be all or nothing, an all or nothing way of thinking. If I happen to eat some grains on the paleo diet, I would consider myself a failure. I failed the diet. And then I would eat a whole pizza. I'm like, if I'm eating fucking grains, I'm going to get the grainiest, least paleo thing I can find, and I'm going to get back to it on Monday. I'll get back to it on Monday. So that's stage 3. And a lot of people get stuck in stage 3. A lot of people are stuck in here because, they've got some pretty good results. They have got some pretty good results over a longer period. It's not super extreme in some cases. But they get to a certain point where either they can't make any more progress, or they start to go backwards because they just can't keep doing the same restrictions. They can't keep not eating grains. They can't keep exercising at super amounts without carbohydrates. And things start to go backwards, and little loopholes you start to discover little loopholes in these other methods. In which comes stage 4, which, if you get to stage 4, you're doing better than a lot of people, because not a whole lot of people get to stage 4. And to be honest, some people don't need to get to stage 4. They can suffice at stage 3. At least they can suffice in their weight loss goals. Maybe not a healthy relationship with food and exercise, but their weight loss goals can, be okay. And when you get to stage 4, you start to realize, look, fuck this ideology. I ate grains the other day, and I actually felt a little bit better for it. Or fuck this vegetarian shit, or fuck this CrossFit way of thinking about things. I don't need to do the 20,000 clean and presses or 20,000 snatches in a row to be a fit person. And you start to sit back and you start to look around a little bit more at what works for you and what tools you can take from different sources. You might experiment with a little bit of fasting. You might take a little bit of what paleo taught you, but you're going to eat a few more grains and a little bit more dairy because you enjoy those foods, and there are healthy foods in those areas. Holy shit. You might start taking instead of doing just weight training, you're going to go for a jog once in a while because you enjoy running and you enjoy nature. You start to become aware that there's not one method that works for everyone. And this is sort of the stage, most of my clients are in between stage 3 and 4. They're like, look, there's something not right, but I'm not sure what it is. And look, this guy seems to be, he's saying some things that really resonate with me. So I'm going to chat to this guy and see what he has to say. And usually most of my clientele have been through 8-week challenges. You know, they've tried paleo, they've done fasting before, they've tried those detox teas before. You know, most of them have worked through the stages before they get to stage 4, where they realize something's not right, but I'm not sure what. Now guys, stage 4, look, I feel like I'm at stage 4 at this point in my life. It's taken me 30 years to get here. It's taken me a long time. I don't think I was truly at this stage until last year. So, and look, to be honest, you might hear what I'm saying right now and be like, "That Aaron, you're talking bullshit. I'm the healthiest I've ever been, and I'm vegan, and I'm the healthiest I've ever been, and I don't want to listen to what you have to say." And that's fair enough. That's your opinion. But this is from my experience and from my clients' experience and from what I've seen working within the fitness industry as a full-time personal trainer for the last 5 years. This is how my process has evolved itself. How I personally deal with my own health and wellness. So, guys, what stage are you at? And why do you think that you're at that stage? And have a think about, you know, if you've taken what I say on board, have a think about how you can move on to the next stage, or whether you're ready to move on to the next stage, or if there really is a next stage for you. But thank you for listening this far. And I would really love to hear any comments or questions that you have in regards to this rough theory of mine. Peace.